Good morning and welcome to Coffee Conversations from the Coffee Shops. My name is Heidi Ellsworth, and we are here today to talk about a very special topic, and that is second chance citizens. We are with the experts and the inspirational folks from WTI and Tremco who are making this a reality and really showing just how special all of these type of opportunities when we're talking about second chances are true. They are being made right now as we speak. Before we get started, I do want to remind everyone that this is being recorded and it will be available within 24 to 48 hours on demand. Please share it out. This is the type of message from the heart that our industry needs and that we want to share with everyone out there. So please get that out there. Also, the chat is open, so don't forget, please, your thoughts, where you're calling in from, who you are, some emojis during the next hour, all of that is available, and we want you to be a part of this conversation. So I want to really say thank you to WTI, which is a subsidiary of Tremco, but really Tremco and WTI have taken the lead in programs that are rising our industry, rising people, bringing them into roofing and waterproofing, and just really providing incredible livelihoods and performance products and installations out there in the market. So WTI, Tremco, thank you for all you do. So let's go ahead and get started. I see some folks in the chat already. Thank you. Let us know how you are and where you're calling in from. And we're going to start with our introductions. So I am so honored to welcome Carlotta Martin to the Coffee Conversations. I have been able to spend some time with Carlotta in the last couple of weeks, and I am so inspired and impressed. So, Carlotta, welcome. And can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do with Tremco WTI?
Sure can. Good morning, everybody. So my name is Carlotta Martin. My role here at Tremco WTI is the Education and Community Outreach Coordinator. And I focus solely on the Rise Elevate program, which is our second chance program where we're helping formerly incarcerated individuals rebuild their lives from the inside out. And so that is what I do. There's a lot of duties and responsibilities that come with that. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I've been with this company going on 9 years in January. And so I'm looking forward to a couple more years with Tremco and even seeing this program that I had expand even further. So thank you for having me this morning.
Thank you. This is so exciting. Everything that we're going to talk about today is just you all are going to be blown away, let me tell you. And I am so proud to introduce Ian Kramer. Ian, thank you so much for being here. Please introduce yourself and tell us what you do with Tremco WTI.
Well, thank you. Thank you as well, Heidi. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Ian Cranmer, and I am Central Region Inspection Foreman. I'm based out of Kansas City, Missouri. I've been with WTI now actually 3 years on Halloween. So in 2 days will be my 3-year anniversary. And I'm just really looking forward to the conversation, sharing my experience and how the RISE program has completely changed my life. So just excited to get the conversation going.
So great. Thank you so much. And Nick, I am so happy to have you here. Can you introduce yourself and tell us what you do with Tremco and WTI?
Thanks, Meg or Heidi. Good morning, everyone. My name's Nick. I'm currently a CAD operator drafter with a diagnostic team. My duties day to day, I create drawings for our pre-diagnostic team so that when they go out in the field, they can utilize their tablets and put their field readings on it, and then we create a report for the customer. In December, it'll mark 3 years that I've been with the company. And yeah, I'm just excited to share with everyone my experiences so far with Tremco and with Rise.
Love it. I love it. Well, let's get started. And I really want to kind of start this conversation, Carlotta, just a little bit of a level set, right? What is, we know we have a labor shortage. We know that we are looking for incredible talent out there, both on the roof, in the office. We need talent and we want to bring them into roofing and waterproofing more than ever. So can you kind of talk just a little bit about what you're seeing when it comes to the labor market, recruitment, and just kind of that overall feel out there in the market and how Tremco and WTI is engaging in that?
Yes. So a lot of us, especially if you're in the construction industry, you have seen the shortages happening, and it's really stemming and have started stemming from the aging workforce, right? The retirements that are coming upon us and nearing. And not only that, I feel that also it plays a part where the disconnect kind of happened between the high school education programs and those trade skills that were introduced to young adults and young individuals, teenagers, has kind of subsided, and they've gotten away from that. And I think that that also plays a part where we are not seeing a lot of youth being introduced to the trades and things of that nature, and so the gap just continued to grow in the skills portion, and even just being introduced to the field of construction, roofing, any of that, right? And so I think that many, especially now, corporations such as WTI Tremco, now we have began introducing that trade back out to young individuals, college students, because everybody does not want to be a doctor or a lawyer and go that route, right? Some don't want to complete college and get a degree in that aspect. They want to go out there and start something with the trade industry. And so Tremco WTI has begin to close that gap a bit with our programs that we have, including the education piece of RISE department, and then also building upon that with career introductions outside of the norms, I would say. And that includes the second chance route, right? And so I think that we're not only looking for numbers when it comes to hiring and recruiting, but we're also looking for individuals and the quality, right, that it brings. And we want the skilled individuals. So the sooner we can get them going and learning the skills and the trade, then I think that we'll be on the right track. And Tremco WTI is definitely on top of that. And that's a part of one of our recruiting initiatives right now, especially with the RISE department, is that's what we're reaching for, trying to get those individuals, and especially the young ones, to come in, learn this trade, see how it can be beneficial to you and your family, and close that gap up, because labor is tight right now, and we just want to be able to be stronger and focus on building this industry even more, and staying strong in that regard. So
True. And you have been the leader. Tremco WTI has been the leader in this. This is not our first coffee conversations on Second Chance. We had a great one last year. You've been working at this for a long time. Can you kind of share with everyone how this program started, how the RISE program, and then the Second Chance with the Department of Corrections, how that all kind of came to be?
yes, unfortunately, I was not here for the origination of this program, which is fine. But I do know that it started with an idea from our director, Malia Evans, who was just trying to find a way, being that there are a lot of individuals out there, including myself, that has in some way, some form and fashion has been affected by incarceration and justice involved individuals. And so the idea came to her where she was wanting to reach in that direction, but really didn't have or know how to do that. And an employee of ours who worked with us currently, her name is Tamara Roy. She kind of aligned Malia with one of the prisons in Ohio, and with the career fair opportunity. And at that moment, the light bulb went off in Malia, and she's like, oh, wow, this is my door, right? I can, the ideas just start rolling. And then, to make a long story short, that is how the program, the Second Chance program, started to become a reality and not just an idea. So Malia just had these other ideas of how about we go into the facilities once she was able to see how it works inside and what is the need and what are people struggling with in this particular situation upon their release, and how can this align with not only her own passions and her own agenda where she wants to help people, but also align with WTI and Trimco's vision and mission on building this industry and closing that gap. And this was one of the opportunities and ideas that Malia came up with the help of Tamara Roy, giving her that door and that space. And then it just went on from there, and we're constantly building off of that. So that's really how it originated.
Love it. I love it. And you've
And
seen a
just
lot
to
of
add
growth.
to
I mean,
that, Heidi,
yeah.
I'm sorry, but just to add to that, I just have to say there obviously were some reserve, right? There were some challenges, there were some barriers that Malia did have to face with this idea, because you have to get the support from your higher ups. And not only that, it was a barrier between legal departments and HR. Like, okay, wait a minute, we have policies where there are certain things that we're not going to accept, right? As far as felonies and things of that nature. So there was, it wasn't like the idea came and whoop, we ran with it. No, there was some other things that had to take place and some barriers that we had to cross and overcome before this program really took off the way it has now. So there was a good crimes versus the bad crimes, if that's the thing. But that's really what the challenge was. And so being that we have a director that leads this, and she's the perfect person for this particular program, but she didn't give up on that, right? It was always just saying, hey, there is another way and we can make this work. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah. Well, and we're going to talk more about that because there are challenges, and there's challenges on all sides, right?
Mhm.
And what we're doing and the growth of the program. You have seen a lot. I mean, every year from that first person, which I believe was Cindy,
Mhm.
to where we're at today, and how many amazing lives are being changed through this program. So I want to get a little bit to share some of these stories, because I think that was really cool. And then we're going to come back a little bit to some of the challenges as a group. But Nick, I want to start with you, and just to kind of give everybody out there to understand how life-changing this is, and what it is. If you could share your story with everyone, that would just be awesome.
Absolutely. So yeah, I was growing up, I never really wanted for much. I grew up with mom and dad, and I had two older sisters. I was the youngest. Um, I was always taught from a young age. My dad really instilled in me, if you want something in life, you got to work hard, and you can get it. And did that all throughout my childhood. I had a job from an early age. Um, just little things here and there. But at the same time, like, I started drinking alcohol at a young age, probably about 13 or 14. All things at the time I thought were pretty harmless. Being from a rural, small farming community, it seemed pretty normal. That's what people did. That's what kids did. Yeah, and this went on all throughout high school. Um, I graduated high school and went off to college. I went into the computer field. I wanted to do like the user support IT help desk route. Graduated college in 2007. Unfortunately, throughout this time, though, being away from mom and dad, not having, them over my shoulder all the time, my drinking transitioned more into drugs, as well as just drinking. And looking back today, obviously, they weren't innocent actions anymore. Those actions were becoming real life addictions. But like I said, I graduated college in 2007. Moved here to Columbus, Ohio, where I reside now. I had a job, an entry level job in the computer field, and I was happy to have that, but it was very much entry level. I was just working on copiers and scanners, Xerox copiers and scanners. So I was diligently looking for another job, and just kind of still going through the motions of addiction. And it all came to a head March 15th of 2008. I was in Columbus for the day. I had an interview earlier that day, and I went home back to my parents' house for the weekend just to see them and hang out with some of my childhood friends. And that night on March 15th, I was involved in a fatal car accident. I was out with my friends throughout the night, and at the end of the night, my one buddy Kyle dropped us off to where we had met earlier that night, and I seen my buddy Kyle walk into his car. So I told him, "Hey, get in my car. I'll drive you home." And like I said, within a few minutes, I was involved in that car accident. And obviously, that in that moment, my life and so many people's lives forever changed. Went through a pretty lengthy legal process, and in November of 2008, I was sentenced to 24 years in prison. My original out date was 10/10/2032. And obviously, I'd never been in any real trouble before. I'd obviously never been to prison, so that was a whole process in and of itself, transitioning into prison, trying to process what had happened, and to work through all the feelings of guilt, shame, everything that comes along with being involved in a catastrophic accident like that. Um, the first couple years were pretty tough, just going through all that and working through all that. But I did, as time went on, things did get better. I was able to get my security lowered eventually, to kind of bounce around to a few different facilities, where I was able to get involved in some more stuff. Security level was obviously lower during that time. But it wasn't until I was up near Cleveland in a correction facility, and it was a place where I could finally get involved in some different programs, one of which being a CAD program through Ohio Penal Industries, and just started learning AutoCAD. I'd never done any kind of design or drafting work, but I thought, being that I had a computer background, it was interesting to me. I was also being involved in the CAD program, and they also had a Braille program there as well. We were in an office-like setting for multiple hours every day, and it got us out of the block. So that was intriguing to me. So yeah, I just started digging in, and then it was shortly before COVID. Our boss said that two members from WTI was going to be coming in to just see what we had going on within the CAD department, that they had a need for more help. And they were going to try to develop a relationship where maybe we could do work for them in some fashion. So that's when I first met my boss now today, as well as Malia Evans. They came in and saw what we were doing, and from the moment they walked in, my boss saw the work that we were doing, and he's like, wow, like we were doing 3D modeling work. And unfortunately, when you have 6 hours a day to learn a software program, you get pretty good at it pretty fast. But yeah, so then COVID happened, and it kind of shut everything down, obviously, and that relationship wasn't able to blossom because of lockdowns and stuff like that. But then we fast forward to around September of 22. I was able to file for what they call a judicial release because I had served over half my sentence. And this would have been the third time that I filed, and went ahead and filed. And the judge finally, they ordered me to come back, and we proceeded with my release. And the biggest thing there is like walking out after almost 14 and a half years in prison. I had reassurance that that I was going to have a position, because even though that the relationship with the DRC had kind of fallen through due to COVID and stuff like that, I had contacts through Malia Evans, and reached out to her as soon as I walked out the door, and just kind of told her like, hey, I'm out, I'm interested. And had another interview with my boss now, and was hired on. And it's just been, for me, it's been game changing, because I know of so many guys, so many friends that walk out the door, and one of their biggest concerns is obviously shelter or somewhere to live. But it's having a career, it's having a job, it's having some way to pay the bills. And that's one thing that I haven't had to worry about, because I had a secure career and position with Tremco. So.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We're going to come back and talk a little bit more about that transition, but Ian, if you can share your story, that would be just wonderful.
Yeah, I would love to, Heidi. My story is a little bit different than Nick's. I grew up in, I guess you could say, a non-traditional or slightly toxic family. I hate to say that or place that label on it, but it's just the reality. And I was the youngest of 4 kids. There was a lot of drug use, a lot of criminal behavior. Growing up watching it was really kind of hard for me, because I feel like I was born with a gift of discernment. Like I knew the difference in right and wrong. And I'm sitting here in my family growing up, and I'm watching these things happen, and somehow I knew it wasn't okay. And so I'm sharing that with them, and it just kind of got really ugly growing up. Because I seen the difference of what we should be doing and what we shouldn't. It gave me the nickname from it's kind of sad to say it, but from my immediate family, they called me Buzzkill, because anytime I was around, I wanted to share that this shouldn't be happening, it's not okay. So I wasn't allowed to join in family events and things like that. And innately inside, all I wanted to do was find acceptance with my family. And growing up, I became what some would call a victim of circumstance, or a product of my environment, because whenever I turned 13, I finally kind of gave up my own morals and the things that I thought were right, because it felt like it was a no-win fight or no-win situation. And I started using at a young age, and I found acceptance, a seat at the family table. And so it felt really good, even though I knew it was wrong. And growing up, I was able to, through that journey, I was able to still graduate high school. Still not sure how that happened. Was the only child to actually graduate. And so the victim of circumstance actually turned into a victim stance. So in addiction, a victim stance is someone who blames their behavior on all these other things. Like, I wouldn't be doing this if they hadn't, or I wouldn't be doing this if this wasn't like that. And so it allowed me to continue to deny what I knew was right, because I was blaming it on everyone else or something else, and not taking responsibility for my own actions as I slowly became an adult. And through that, I ended up, I was met with incarceration. And it was a long journey before my arrest. I think I was 29 years old before I was arrested. So I had actually lived in society and had multiple different kinds of jobs, and was just trying to really find my way. And it was still so hard because of the addiction, and it created such shame and regret inside of me that I was unable to break the cycle, and ended up going to jail. I remember telling my arresting officer, the moment that he set me in his car, I said, thank God it's over, because the journey had been so much, and there was a lot of hurt and just so much. And I'm really not trying to concentrate on all the bad, because that's really not why we're here, but it is what led to us being here today. And so I said, thank God it's over. I remember in my addiction at one point in time, I remember saying, man, like, I know that I'm built for something different. I know I'm not supposed to be this person, but I cannot seem to find a way to get out of it. And I was just thinking, man, if someone would just give me a chance and just say, and see me for who I was, for a person that I couldn't even truly see who I was or accept, but wanted to, then I could finally, I could make it. I could break out of this cycle. I could become something different. And so as I begin to find sobriety in a jail cell, I look around and I realize that my new circumstances do not line up with the person who I want to be and the person that I know I can be. So for me, jail was like a mirror. It was the biggest mirror that I needed to put in front of myself, because I realized that I had a problem and I had an issue and I needed to find a way to correct it. And it provided the opportunity for me to really seek inside myself and find the ability to forgive myself and forgive others for the things that I had done. And it was a really hard thing to do. And to reach out to find all the different ways that I could grow and become the person that I wanted to be. And other people didn't know that this was all going on inside of me. It's just an internal battle, you know? And so I continue to reach out as I go through prison. I find anything I can do to help myself. I got involved with a program called Puppies for Parole, and I was able to actually train service dogs for disabled veterans. So that helped me give back to my community. I became a president of a program called RJO, which is the Restorative Justice Organization. It kind of builds, it's a bridge between the community and the inmate. It helps you give back to the community as well. So what we did was we would build like jewelry boxes for battered mothers, or toy boxes for displaced kids, or create coloring books, or weave hats for orphans. And so that was an amazing opportunity. And it started refilling my identity of the person that I always thought I could connect with, but never had an opportunity to. Mm-hmm. And so it was a really, for me, incarceration was kind of a beautiful thing. And I think it could be for a lot of other people that society has no idea. And started seeking out a lot of like therapy and just anything I could do to better myself. I became the Christian General Representative for about 3 years. So I helped get engaged in all the Christian services and everything. So I found a way to become a successful part of the community in prison and rebuilding myself. And so as I'm approaching my release, I'm working on all these changes, and I'm thinking in my mind, okay, I'm never going to find a job. I'll never have a retirement. I'll never have insurance, all these things that people have in life. Like, it's okay. I'm the reason why I'm in this situation, but I'm never going to reach those things. And so I'm accepting, all right, well, I'm going to get a job at McDonald's. If that's what I have to do, I'm going to get out, and I'm not going to continue the cycle. I've got to be something different, and I don't care what it takes. And then it was just so unbelievable whenever they made the announcement that WTI, was going to come into the prison and create this program where they were going to train us how to do a specific job. They were going to help us learn a trade. They were going to help us upon release, and they were going to pretty much hold our hand through the entire journey to help us become productive members of society again. I'm like, there's no way. And so I landed the interview, that was also by the grace of God. And I remember asking Malia Evans, I said, this program, it seems so good to be true. There's a lot of people that are really skeptical about this. I said, so could you please just answer this one question? Why would a company do this? Why would they come into the Department of Corrections and try to help people, which is an amazing thing, don't get me wrong, but why would you do that?
Yeah.
And it was referred to the labor shortage inside the communities across the nation. And she said, we are firm believers that if we invest in someone who deserves a second chance, that you in turn will invest in us that much more. And there was just something in her eyes and in her heart and in her voice and I believed it. And I came out of one of the very first classes, so it was still really kind of new. You didn't know if they were going to really hold to their word. And they did in so many ways that I never even expected. Like even the emotional support as a transition and coming home. like, Carlotta, thank you. I can't thank you enough for all the amazing phone calls that we've had and the journeys that I personally went through and how you helped me gain a new perspective of those things. Like, it's more than an individual could ask for. And yeah, I'm just really grateful to be here. And I hope that was good enough. I was really kind of nervous starting into this. So
Did
Well,
awesome, Ian. Thank you.
it was the comments themselves, Nick and Ian, right over here, just beautiful testimonies. Thank you for sharing. How inspiring. I'm a little teary just because it's so inspiring what you both have done and where you're at. And I really kind of want to talk about that where you're at because of the training, because of the opportunities. I love, Nick, that you're like, I gotten this, I knew it, I could call. So let's just talk about. I'd like both of you, and I'll start back with Nick, give Ian a chance to a little break here for a minute. But if you could kind of talk about what you're doing now, day to day, and what your life is, what has changed, and where you're at in this whole journey with Tremco and WTI.
Well, I mean, where I'm at today is like, for me, it still sometimes seems surreal. Like Ian was sharing, like, you know, when you get clarity, right? When you're sitting in a jail cell or when you're sitting anywhere, when you get that clarity that you want something more for your life, you know, then you start clawing at ways to get there. And that's the one thing I just wanted to say that really, stood out when Ian was sharing his story, is that, it's just about enabling people. And that's one thing that I can say, like, with this program, that's given me, it's like, it's checked the box for my career so that I'm able then to spend, not that I'm not putting energy into my career yet, but it's that box is checked. So I'm able to, like, kind of shift my energies or my time into other things that might help me to blossom into the person that I want to be. And that's whether that's giving back through the local church. I also still today, I train service animals for a nonprofit for children up near Cleveland. And it's just, it's hard. Like I said, it's really just still hard for me to believe how far I've come and the people I've been able to meet. And I feel like first and foremost, for me, it all stems back to my faith, but it also plays into my career and the fact that box has been checked. So I've been able to, like I said, divert my energy and time into other things and just continue to become that person that I really want to be. And that, for me, at least, is just to continue to give back, to share my story, because, like, I look at my time while I was in, and if people, like my family, friends, people that came into the prisons to do programs, companies like WTI, wouldn't have came alongside of me and put out their hand for me, I wouldn't be in the position I am today. So that's been my goal since my release, is just to put out my hand for people in any way I can to help them through their struggle. Because, let's face it, it's a tough world today, and everybody needs, some people just need a little push or a little hand, and others obviously need a little bit more. But that's really kind of where I'm at today. It's like, I've been blessed with this great opportunity, with, my career. Like I said, the insurance, the retirement, that's all checked as of now. So I'm able to, focus on being that hand for others and giving back.
And you're doing, the thing I love is you have a career now of something that you love. I mean, looking way back when you're interested in computers, then the drafting, and today you are doing beautiful roof takeoffs, CAD drawings, whole building envelope. I mean, that's just it, the fact that you're doing something that you kind of really wanted to do, and now you're doing something you love.
Yeah, I
phenomenal.
mean, that's the thing. What I do on a day-to-day basis, like I said, I do the pre-diagnostic drawings for the diagnostic team. And the thing I like so much about it is, like, we're like the tip of the arrow for, like, kind of the roofing process. Because in order to know if the roof needs restored, if it needs replaced, you know, a lot of times the customer wants to know what's going on. And the first step is to do the diagnostic test. And for me, I locate the building, I draw a CAD file up for our diagnostic tech to then go out and scan the building to put his or her roof data on my drawing. And then we create a report for the customer so that they know then, hey, we need to either do a full restore or we need to patch this hole or that hole or full replacement. So that's one thing for me that it's just really intriguing because like obviously the demand's always going to be there. And, you know, long term, it gives me, you know, confidence that, you know, I'll be around a while. So.
So true. And Ian, tell us what your day to day is, what you're doing, and how that's come together.
Oh my goodness. Well, how it came together for me was quite a journey. It all started with all the training and everything that they helped me create to learn the roofing systems and everything like that. So I just really quickly, you know, I started off just as a hybrid. I was doing inspections and I was doing patch and repair work.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I just took everything in as much as I could and I just gave everything I had back. Like Malia said, you know, if we invest in you, you're going to invest in us. So I invested everything because I knew that this was going to lead somewhere because it was fulfilling my identity and the person that I always wanted to be. And, you know, through the last 3 years, you know, my communication and my skills and my abilities and my humbleness and willing to learn and integrity and all these things that they say, which is kind of still hard for me to see, but it's there because it's led me to where now I'm a central region inspection foreman. So my everyday today business is, you know, I've got 3 teams in the Kansas City area. I overlook what is it, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, those 4 states. And we have over 800 contracts within those 4 states. And so I oversee every inspection. Now we have certain levels of inspections that have to be done. We have QAs, QA pluses, trim cares, TPWs, extension renewals, and all of those have certain dates that have to be done. And some of them are backlogged. So I get this really nice long list of all these inspections across the 4 states, and I categorize the highest priority. And then I do a lot of continued training, just transferring the information that I've learned to these other inspectors. And it's a daily process. It's beautiful, honestly, and it's a lot of busy work. I have to communicate a lot with a lot of sales reps, with admin consistently creating schedules, making sure that all of my techs have the appropriate materials and supplies. And it's just, for me, it's beautiful because it allows me to use my talents in such a way that I never thought I was going to be able to do. And during the same time in the last 3 years, you know, I've learned the things I need to learn to maintain the position that I have now, which I never thought I would ever have. I've gotten married and I've had a daughter, and they're my wife. And then of course, you know, I have my stepdaughter as well. They're my biggest blessings. And together we've bought a home. We've been restoring it for the last year and a half. And it's amazing. So I spend my days working, and I don't know how I do it all, but I'm also a part of the Elevate program where I'm doing the online training for college courses as well. Actually just had my midterm exams last night. So whew, that was a beast. And so for me, you know, to look back to where I came from and what I've been through and to where I am now, and I agree with Nick in every way. It seems so surreal. I just feel like I'm waking up in a dream, but I'm just thankful for the second chance that I've been given because it allowed me to actually truly be the person that I always knew I was going to be. You know, I fulfilled my identity because of this. And honestly, I don't know if I ever, sorry, I don't want to get emotional, but I don't know if I ever would have been able to fulfill that identity without this. No. So
That
Beautiful.
and that test you took last night, your midterms, you're on your way to get your construction management degree, right?
that's correct. Yes, ma'am.
That's so awesome. Absolutely so amazing. Yeah. So Carlotta, as everybody, we're all out there a little choked up right now, but this is every single day you get to work with amazing men and women like Ian and Nick. And bringing people from incarceration into the workplace. Talk to us a little bit about some of the challenges you've had, getting into the correctional facilities, and then this whole process, because this is the most inspirational thing. But I know, having watched over the last several years, this took a lot of time, a lot of patience, and a lot of tenacity. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, it does. It take a lot of time, but first and foremost, I would say what it takes from the beginning is the support from the head of your corporation. Like it cannot be successful without that, because with such programs as Elevate, we we invest. So there's money that's being spent, and we have to have that support from the head, from our C-suite, from our legal department, from human resources, all the way down to our regional management teams and all of the individuals that we work with every single day, our safety directors and things of that nature. Like, we have to have all of that support in order for this to work. Because again, I know I mentioned the good crimes and the bad crimes, if that exists, but some people perspective is, well, let's just try and accept those individuals that have not so heavy crimes, or the good ones, right? But is there a such thing? And when we begin to dive into second chance, and when we're talking about giving individuals another outlook on life and seeing, we know that behind every felony, there is a story. And we wanted to know what that story was. I know you all have at some point, if you listen to Tina's and Cindy's interview with you and your podcast with Heidi, we needed to know the story. And that is what really helped us be able to develop this the way that we have now. Because when we go in, and when I say we, the Elevate team, the Rise department, when we're interviewing candidates, it's a panel. It's not just a one person's decision, because sometimes you may see something in an individual that I'm not seeing. We all come from different aspects of life, different backgrounds, different cultures and environments. And so I think that first it takes the support of your lead of the corporation. Then it takes individuals that is going to be a part of this program to really have a heart for the people. And that's where I'm getting to right now, the heart for the people. Because when we go in and we are interviewing individuals, we come across all types of people from different walks of life, right? Something that I may not have been used to, but it's okay. We come in without judgment. We come in trying to hear, well, what happened with you? What happened? How did you get here? And where do you want to go? And so, and some of the other challenges that we have faced is getting the space that we may need for the program. Again, we're going into correctional facilities, right? High security buildings. And we're talking to them about bringing in tools and knives, utility knives and saws and drills and things of that nature. Like, where are you going with this stuff, ma'am? Right? But so it also takes, support from the Department of Corrections leadership and getting the support there. Because again, these are individuals, they have an obligation and a responsibility to keep every individual that's incarcerated as safe as possible, let them complete their term, but in as safe as they possibly can. So when we're talking about bringing in tools and you got strangers coming in, right? They don't know us from a can of paint, but they have to be open and willing to allow us to show them, hey, we are here. We're going to make sure we're following every single one of your rules, right? But we also need you to understand that we also have a mission here, and we're trying to get deep into the hearts of the people, because we believe that change is not something we could teach you a trade. We can show you how to patch something up, right? Patch the roof up. We can show you how to put on your PPE and be safe up there on the roof and give you your OSHA certificate. We can do that, but we also want to get deeper inside to the soft skills that it requires, that when you do become an employee of anybody, whether it's with WTI Trimco or somebody else out there, that you have the skills that you need, communication skills and things of that nature. So the challenges there is just making sure that you have the support on all ends, being able to get deep with and become, I would say, more involved with the individuals. It's kind of tough in the correctional world because their mindset is on safety and security. So when you're talking about, oh, I have to build some type of relationship with this individual that's incarcerated, they don't see it like that, because that's not how they have to, their mentality is different from ours. So even that is a little bit of a challenge, because we're saying, hey, Nick, I see you. I hear you. You're not just a number here. You are a person. What is happening, right? What is going on? So getting down and it's a little bit of a challenge, because you'll get a guard like, hey,
Hey.
what you talking about, right? so but out of all of that, the beauty is I really every single day get to see real live transformations. That to me is the reward. When I met Ian when he first got out, he was already out and I was transitioning into this position. But when I tell you the transformation from the caterpillar to the beautiful butterfly to that has just been amazing. And I see it every day, even inside. Right now, the classes we just finished, you can see from the first start of that interview, you get individuals that you're like, oh Lord, what did we just do? Right? I don't know if we picked the right person, but then by the end of it, you get to see, hey, we did that.
Yeah.
Because that individual was really ready to change. And those are some of the things that, is rewarding, but also challenging at the same time.
We have so many comments over here for all three of you on just how inspirational, how passionate, the dedication. But we have a question here on how many employees are part of this program, Carlotta? How many?
Currently, with the Elevate program, and this does not include the 18 that is waiting for their release, but has already completed our program and graduated. But we have 32.
32 employees.
Yes, 32
awesome.
employees that are still rocking and rolling with us right now. So, and more to come, right? And that is between two. Well, we have individuals that participate outside of just our Florida Department of Corrections partnership, and also outside of the Missouri. We have individuals in Rhode Island and in Boston and other places. So
now you're actively working in Ohio and Florida in correctional.
Inside of the correctional facilities, yes.
Yeah, doing training.
And definitely hoping to expand that, but again, that's going to take some work, because there's a lot of coordinating that comes with this. And I mean, right now, Malia and I have been holding it down, along with all of our internal partners that come in, help us teach these classes. We could not do it just us two alone. So I have to give honor where honor is due to everybody from the safety team with WTI, from Maureen and Adam Cook and the Tamara Roys and the Lisa Garcias and everybody that comes in. Tom Biller, he's one of our trainers that is phenomenal. We have Kale who comes in and help us. So there are a lot of individuals internally that we partner with that allow us to continue on with this great work.
Really the culture of Tremco and WTI. That's what you just described is really the culture. Ian, you're kind of nodding your head. How important is that culture to you for your as your for your transition and then as your career is growing?
I think it's paramount for me. During my college courses, I was turned on to something called DIBS. It's a culture that's being created through a lot of companies. It's a diversity, inclusion, and belonging. And
Love it.
For me, all three are very important, but the most important, and Carlotta just kind of touched on it, was getting to the heart of it. And that's what they did so well. And what just sold me 100% was creating the sense of belonging. They see me for who I was, and that was what I needed to springboard my career and to change my life, was that you guys, everyone does that. And no offense, it's not just Carlotta, it's everyone in the entire company. They create a belonging for you, and they don't excommunicate you. They don't make you feel bad because of your past, and that's a lot of things as an inmate, especially coming into a thing like this, because you're meeting so many different people that have led amazing lives and they've graduated college. So you're kind of intimidated because of your past. And so it kind of, for me anyways, I always kind of shied back a little.
Yeah.
But they all came at me with the sense of belonging. And
they didn't let you go back. They kept you going forward. Wow. I love that. So Nick, as you're kind of looking at that too, I mean, you and Ian have different jobs in there, but as you are looking to grow your career, how important is, this continual education that is offered through Tremco, and then just also this opportunity for growth?
Yeah, like Ian said, I think it's paramount. I mean, you definitely from day one, you feel it's like a sense of family, whether it's Carletta and Malia reaching out periodically to just a status update. Hey, is everything good? To everybody on the current team that I'm on, you feel supported. I know initially I kind of shied away from, as I got closer to some of my coworkers, I shied away from sharing anything about my past. And then one day I realized, like, if they can't accept me for who I am, they probably shouldn't be talking to me. And I shared with a few of them, and they were just like, wow, they were blown away. And I feel like that's helped to build our relationships. And once again, that support system is always there. And I feel like, obviously it takes initiative on our end. You have to, much was given to us. So now we have to pour much into it, whether it's the program or our jobs. And, I just look for opportunities day in and day out to continue to grow, because once again, like I've been given this great opportunity, and I don't want to let it pass in any way, shape, or form. And the Elevate program, as well as the Rise, they give you all the tools. It's just whether or not an individual wants to utilize them.
I couldn't agree with that more. Yeah.
Love that. Ian, if you were to give some advice to other companies, other roofing companies out there, other manufacturers, on really how to do this, right? How to really give these second chances and make it part of it. What's some of your advice?
I think that we've kind of touched on it through the entire conversation already. A lot of the things that Carlotta has covered, and making it personal, and trying to overlook what's on paper, what's in black and white in someone's history, because you never truly know what led someone into the situation or the circumstances they were. And if you don't take the time to find out who they are in their heart and where they're at and the things that they expect out of life and the things they expect out of themselves, you'll never really know what you have. Sometimes you'll find a diamond in the rough. My sister gave me this really cool quote the other day, and I'm like, I'm going to use that on the coffee talk. And I trust me, I promise I'm very humble. So, but when I say this, it's really beautiful. I would tell them to remember that nothing is impossible because I'm possible. So take a chance on the next person. You never know what you're going to get.
Yes, I agree. Very beautiful. Very beautiful.
Alana, I mean, that was just awesome. I mean, what is some of your advice for everyone out there for these programs?
And I would echo in when he says, take a chance. I tell individuals all the time, look, businesses take risk all the time. Why not take one with a second chance program, or a second chance employee, or a justice involved individual? Take that chance on them. You never know. I mean, there are such beautiful, beautiful individuals that are behind a wall, behind bars right now, that has so much potential, that has, I mean, wise, smart, witty, funny. You know, at the end of the day, what we miss, I think, in society altogether is that they're people, right? Yes, made a mistake. Yes. I mean, even myself, I I needed a second chance at some point in my life, right? And so I just feel like if employers would open up their minds and just their hearts to say, hey, let me take a risk on this, right? So many individuals in our community could be helped. And it just goes a long way. I mean, I always look at individuals, especially when I come across them in the prison. There is not one that Malia and myself does not go by and speak to. You're not in our class, but that doesn't matter. Good morning. How are you today? Right? Because they are people. And I never know. They could be my neighbor, they could be your neighbor at some point. Because one thing about it, for the most part, they got time, but they're going to get out and they're going to need some help. And if we don't want to see this cycle continue, what can we do as a whole in society? And I think that one thing I absolutely love and appreciate about Trumco WTI is that they was able and willing to take the risk, and out of that have created such a beautiful, beautiful platform, a career path. And I'm so elated and blessed to be a part of that in some capacity. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I really stumbled upon it, but it all makes sense to me now, because in my own personal life, incarceration has affected me in some way or another. And it's just so honorable for me to have a little piece in somebody's story to say, hey, this individual was involved, even if it was just a text saying, hey, how are you today? What's up with your family? How's your daughter? Right? So I just love it.
I Oh my gosh, all of you, it's just amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Carlotta. That is beautiful. And the comments, everyone is the same thing. We did have one more question. Let me just see if I can grab that real quick. And then I want to make sure everybody knows how to get more information on this. But there was a question on, and I think we answered it. How many people have gone through the program? You never, yeah, and I
Well,
think you said 32, right?
32 currently that are um, with us right now. But if we talk about, I mean, we can't save them all. Some decide to go a different route. Some kind of, dabble and get a little bit mixed up. But I would say that came through the program, probably, I would say 70 and counting, because we just finished our 6th cohort in Missouri and our 1st cohort in Florida. And we are getting ready to begin another one in Florida in January. So we are excited, and we're continuing on.
It's growing when you think about 18 who just went through the training. That's amazing.
Mhm.
For anyone who's interested in more information, you can go to info.tremcoroofing.com/rise dash education. There are so many facets to what WTI and Tremco is doing around the RISE program, including Second Chance, also the construction management program, apprenticeships, you name it. There is just some beautiful opportunities here from wherever you're at. So please check out this site. Also, of course, WTI has a full directory on Roofers Coffee Shop where you can find our past coffee conversations, all the information and everything that you may want. I have to say again, Nick, Ian, Carlotta, thank you so much. Thank you for inspiring us, and thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. We are
you.
so blessed to have you all. Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Heidi.
Yeah, it's been
We
great. Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you all for listening. This is what it's all about, my friends. Big thank you to WTI and Tremco and everything they're doing and for being sponsors. And I see a lot of our friends on today that are also working this program. So thank you for everything you do, working with Carlotta and Malia and Ian and Nick and everyone else. We are next week going to have coffee conversations for Metal Coffee Shop, and it's talking about resiliency and built to withstand. So important right now. I tell you what, we could have WTI and Tremco back on that one too. Performance products and building it to withstand the elements. So join us next week. We are excited to have you all. Thank you so much, and please have a wonderful day. We'll see you next week. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.